What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of Let It Be Known. Wow, what a time. What a time, what a time, what a time. Before we even get started, because there's a lot to cover. Um, but what's going on? Before we get there, look, we want to announce this morning before we even get into everything a new partnership that'll last for an initial 3 months, and then we'll go from there. It's with the Bell Project. By providing free bail assistance to those in need, the Bell Project restores the presumption of innocence, reunite families, and gather evidence for change. By advocating for better policies, the Bell Project seeks to take money out of the justice system and to create a pretrial system that is more just, equitable, and humane. Commitment is their catch. It's They're committed. They strive for a more perfect justice system, one that works for all people, no matter of their race or their wealth. Um, they are committed to a mission as audacious as creating a fairer justice system. And it takes an equally audacious team and an equally audacious decision to partner with Let It Be Known to continue to get their word and their mission out. The Bell Project is proud to have some of the most innovative, talented, and compassionate leaders guiding their organization. Over the next 3 months, you're going to hear the stories of success, the legal maneuvering, and the great outcomes because the Bell Project decided they were going to step in and help. They decided what was we already knew, that the system is just totally unbalanced, unfair, particularly for folks who look like us. So the Bell Project has joined Let It Be Known, and you will see some of the great stories from them on this program. We will write about them, and we will also have them on. There are some great success stories that you don't hear about, and it's all due to the generosity of the Bell Project. And as you can see, you can go to bellproject.org as they have uh, joined in and have become a partner with Let It Be Known. We're so proud to uh, have them, um, and looking forward to this great, what will be, we promise, a great partnership with the Bell Project. So you'll be hearing about the Bell Project at least once a week um, on Let It Be Known. So um, we'll check that out. But now to the news, and just take you back a little bit because we got the black lady told y'all. Did she, didn't the black lady tell y'all? I mean, holy smoke. Listen to this.
I will tell you, you're not going to have a war with me, and you're not going to have a third world war with me. That I can tell you. I will tell you, you're not going to have a war with me, and you're not going to have a third world war with me. That I can tell you.
Now listen to the black lady.
This president is motivated by his personal insecurities more than he is our national security. And so what we're looking at is, again, a threat that might be taken seriously. And I would dare to say that that threat was issued without serious consultation with our allies, with our military leaders, with our diplomatic leaders. What are our alternatives? Let's also be clear, if this president is thinking about putting us in a position where we're in a war with Iran, the consequences will be absolutely unacceptable and tragic in terms of the young men and women who are American soldiers who would be sent and deployed into something that was completely avoidable. As far as I'm concerned, this president.
She told you. She told you. There's no other way about it. So the Ayatollah Khamenei. How do you pronounce this guy's name? Remember the old Ayatollah um, Khomeini? And he spells his name differently, or he did spell his name differently, but he was killed immediately. So the intelligence, we will say this, the U.S. intelligence really know their stuff still. Um, but apparently they killed him immediately. And the next guy in charge reportedly was killed within an hour of him taking charge. But that hasn't stopped Iran from retaliating. There's reports this morning that they have hit targets in Dubai. And how about TMZ? I mean, I don't really have a problem with those guys. They spread their money around and get some great information, but they hit some targets in Dubai, and TMZ had a headline says Dubai resident Lindsay Lohan is safe after Iran's attack. Give me a break. Are you kidding me? Dubai resident Lindsay Lohan. Apparently she moved to Dubai, but she ain't the only one. Goodness grief. RG says the CIA followed the Ayatollah for 4 months, 25/8. They paid good money for this inside job. But again, this is why reporters and journalists, we are not taken seriously anymore, because you have a TMZ with such an awful job. I mean, that's just horrible. I mean, it's not The Onion. At least maybe that's all you can expect, right? But Iran has now attacked several locations in Europe. Now there is, of course, sleeper cells, the fear of sleeper cells throughout the United States. These folks, and there was a video of the Ayatollah talking to this little boy, probably 4 or 5 years old, who said that he wanted to essentially, go out and kill Americans, wanted to throw bombs when he grows up. And the Ayatollah told him to get an education, become a scientist. And then when you're old, then you become a martyr. Then you think about becoming a martyr. The hate for the United States from Iran has always been intense, but they have never attacked. I mean, they did the hostage situation back in 1979, and that was provoked because they wanted the U.S. to release into their custody the deposed Shah of Iran at that time. And of course, Jimmy Carter, who history now shows and should show as a really effective president, failed, made some bonehead moves there, sending in a rescue mission that never really had a chance to succeed. But nonetheless, the point is, these are the folks that flew planes into the World Trade Center. Now, they weren't Iranians, but these are the type of folks. Iranians are the type of folks. They Before that, there was other attempts. In other words, these folks believe the old saying that the Ayatollah Khomeini used to say all the time back in the 70s and 80s, that the US was the great Satan. They believe that. They've been taught that. It's like racism is taught here. And so folks believe that black folks are inferior, or black folks are no good. The Iranians have been taught from day one that America is the great Satan. The hate has always been there. And so at this point in time, despite them, some of them rejoicing over the death of the Ayatollah, they still want to exact vengeance. In fact, reports say that US bombs hit an all girls elementary school, killing at least 83 people, including students, young students, young students, kids. Orangey says in the Iran situation, follow the oil. Benjamin Netanyahu has lied for 30 years about Iran having a nuclear bomb, and I am nowhere near a supporter of Iran. Right. It's you're not a supporter of Iran, but and certainly I'm not a supporter of any of them. But the facts are this: what Orangey lays out, what we're laying out, these are facts. You go and you poke the bear, and more importantly, or just as importantly, Vladimir Putin says, okay, you have talking about Donald Trump, you've crossed the line. He sent out his condolences, Vladimir Putin, Russian president, over the death of the supreme leader, the Ayatollah. He called the act a murder committed in cynical violation of all norms of human morality and international law. The U.S., of course, have reportedly lost at least 3 service people, and several others have been injured. And Donald Trump, sitting from his almost finished White House ballroom, says, hey, that's the cost of doing business here. It's going to be some casualties. And then he says that there's going to be this should be at least another month before this is resolved. And we know that we're not dealing with, a this is not Greenland. This is Iran. So that 1 month prediction by the president, initially he said it would take, hours. Now he says at least a month. But at least 201 folks have been killed in airstrikes, reportedly, and at least 750 hurt since Saturday, according to reports out of Iran. Um, this has been really crazy stuff. But now you've invited Russia to become more aggressive. And if Russia gets involved, that means North Korea and China will get involved. And this is the president, as we played that, talking about there would be no wars and certainly not a World War III. But there it is. I mean, there it is. This is what we were told by this president. And now it's on the verge of World War III. It's it is what it is, as they say. But here we are. Here we are. So we will see. We will see where this all leads, but it seems very apparent where this is going. And it's not pretty. It's not pretty. So Iran, who's next? Who is next? We're going to switch gears now to some really good news. There you see Henrietta Lacks, and this is not, I'm surprised it's not getting the coverage it deserves. Especially here, the Black press, we have an obligation, right? Don't we have an obligation to talk about this? The Henrietta Lacks situation. The family of Henrietta Lacks, and you remember her cervical cells were harvested in 1951 without her knowledge and replicated infinitely ever since, has reached a settlement with a second biotech company, the Switzerland-based company Novartis, which was accused in a lawsuit of profiting from Henrietta Lacks' cells, which were taken without consent but have enabled huge advances in medical science. Her family never received any compensation and fought for years to get justice for the stolen cells. But 3 years ago, the family did make a settlement with another biotech company, Thermo Fisher Scientific Incorporated. The terms were undisclosed, but now they've settled with the Switzerland-based company, I should say. So they are getting some justice in the Henrietta Lacks situation, and that is great news to begin Women's History Month, right? That is absolutely RNG. But it's something that I'm a little surprised that it's not getting the coverage it should get. At least I feel like it should get. And I think many other people feel that way. Before we go further, I want you to check out this video from Salt James from Salt and Pepper. It's very telling about Hollywood and about it's just about what's really going on here. But check this out as she drops some interesting jewels, if you will. Let's check it out.
Hey y'all, so the cat's out the bag. I've been studying this type of thing for years, but you can't really talk about it because people will think that you're crazy. So now we know Satanists and Luciferians run the world. 2 Corinthians, it describes that Satan is the god of this world. That they own the government, politics, Democrats and Republicans, the court system, the education system, the banks, the Federal Reserve, real estate, farms, Hollywood, what we watch, music, what we listen to, media, what we believe, sports, big pharma, everything. We pay their taxes, we work their jobs, we buy their houses. We don't own anything really, because even if we paid for a house outright, if we miss paying taxes one time, they can take the home. We've been pitted against each other like crazy forever. Black versus white, rich versus poor, men versus women, Democrats versus Republicans, Muslims against Christians. We fight over narratives that they've created to keep us divided while they're doing whatever they want. Hunting, killing, sexually assaulting, sacrificing, torturing, cannibalizing, yes, cannibalizing, and organ harvesting our children, grooming them and over-sexualizing them, teaching them inappropriate things in school. They start wars and they tell us it's this country or that country, or it's this religion who's our enemy. And our kids go to war to defend lies. They fund both sides of the war and make billions of dollars while our family members are sacrificed. We have been bamboozled beyond our wildest dreams. Everything we've been fed is a lie. So what do? If you're like me, like, okay, we got the information, but what do? We can't impeach the president because that's up to Congress. The only power we have is our dollars, our prayers, and our voices. Some people will laugh at that, but when it comes to their God, they're on their job. They pray to their God, they worship him, they murder, assault children, make blood sacrifices. They are very dedicated to making sure their God is pleased with them. We can stop feeding the beast with our dollars. When things are exposed, we can stop giving them our money. I'm not telling you who you should buy from or where to spend your money, but I do encourage you to investigate the companies you patronize. Find out who they are, what their practices are, what their beliefs are. I know we love certain brands, but do we know their history? Who owns your bank? Is there another place that you can put your money? Because if they decide, they can close the banks whenever they want, or they can freeze our accounts if we don't comply with their narrative. They're purposely poisoning our water, air, and food. So support your local farmers if you have access. I know everyone doesn't have access. I understand that. Buy fresh, real food. Buy land if you can. Grow food if that's in your heart. Even this information we've been exposed to, I think it's designed to see what we will do. This information can make us feel helpless and depressed and even more complacent, giving them even more control to usher in their new world order, their one world government, one currency, one world dictatorship where we have no rights at all. So we can refuse digital ID, we can support smaller venues, we can spread and share information. If we can homeschool our children. Support local farmers. It's healthier, it's cleaner. Get back to eating whole foods. If you can, try and go direct to consumer. And according to Revelation, yes, we are being led to a choice, right? It talks about the mark of the beast in Revelation 13, 16 through 17. You can read it for yourself, but that's basically where this is all headed, and it's unfolding right in front of us. There'll be a time that we won't be able to buy or sell unless we take the mark. Can you imagine one world government, one religion, one currency, total dictatorship, total control? Let's do what we can. Spread information, and God bless you guys.
Wow. It's interesting, coming from an entertainer. We keep hearing about like the Illuminati and all that stuff, which whatever. But there's a lot of things that she said in there that is so doggone interesting about that we see with the wars, the child, the children under attack, your money not being safe. It's a lot to think about. It's a lot that our folks who look like me, folks who look like us, we got to consider as far as um, certainly as far as like the money. Look, RNG's been commenting, but he's one that has said for a long time doesn't trust our banking systems, and he's not the only one. There's so many like that don't, and understandably so. You got a president that's you don't know what side of bed he's going to wake up on, and might decide, oh, let me just shut down all of the financial systems. This is what the European Union, they have been preparing for. The whole we brought you that story about MasterCard and Visa last week with Europe. So they're preparing for that. She made the point about, do you ever really own your home? And that goes for everybody. See, one thing the pandemic should have taught, and it taught for a little while, that everybody is human, even big time celebrities, billionaires. They always reduced to the same, everybody was reduced to the same level for a while. You couldn't go nowhere. No matter how much money you had, there was nothing you could really do. Money wasn't going to save your life. And that's how really this program got jump started. It was the pandemic, and we had celebrity after celebrity because they had nothing to do. And the one thing about celebrities, the overwhelming majority, maybe not 100% of them, but the overwhelming majority, they want the attention. They crave the attention. This idea, oh, they don't want to sign order, or they want to hide themselves behind dark shades or big. Nah, that's an act. That's an act. They want the attention. They crave it. It's a drug. And so you name it. Every publicist, every assistant, and every celebrity that I knew, I call, oh yeah, I'm coming on. And not only did they come on, because you watched them on like Good Morning America, Today's Show, whatever. They on for 5 minutes. They stayed on for an hour, hour and a half. They wanted to be seen and heard, and we gave them that platform. And now you see so many of them with their own platforms, with their own live streams. It's amazing, right? Podcasts and stuff. They crave, don't be fooled. They crave that attention. They probably crave the attention more than anybody else. Those who don't get attention. They crave it more than those who don't get attention. It's never enough. But Salt made some serious claims there. She tied it, biblically too, to what she believes anyway. Oh boy. Folks, some news out of Neverland. Yes, indeed. This is stunning almost. And almost to the point where you got to say, I hate being the one who's skeptical on certain things. But the timing of this is absolutely unmistakable. And who it's coming from, more than the timing, but who it's coming from. The Casio family, and there's a lot of stunning things in this uh, lawsuit against the Michael Jackson companies and Michael Jackson estate. Um, but this family, and this is, and some folks are getting on me. I wrote the story over the weekend. And they, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I sometimes I write stuff the Jackson family goes off on me. Sometimes I write stuff the alleged victims go off on me. It doesn't matter. But the deal is that the Casio family was celebrated as Michael's second family for years, decades. They met. Michael first met the Casios. The father, Dominic, he was a chef at the Helmsley Palace Hotel, and they met in the early 1980s. And Michael met the family. They lived in New Jersey, and Michael would come this way to the East Coast, and a lot of times he stayed with the family. After 9/11, he had the concerts there just before 9/11. He had Madison Square Garden, the 30th anniversary concerts. And when the 9/11 hit, he panicked like everybody else. He was not a jab at him. Everybody panicked. Well, he found his way through the Lincoln Tunnel and to Franklin Lakes, New Jersey, where the Casios lived, and stayed with them. For years, Frank Casio had said, y'all crazy if y'all think Michael did anything wrong to young boys. Y'all are absolutely out of your mind if you think that he and this is the Casio family with Dominic and Frank and the rest. But you're crazy. Frank went on to become like a close confidant to Michael Jackson. But his family has launched a $200 million lawsuit against the Jackson estate. It's a 23-page complaint that was filed late Friday in the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California. It names Edward Joseph Casio, Dominic Savini Casio, Marie Nicole Port, and Aldo Casio. And it's interesting. You heard the name Marie Nicole, and yes, it is a female. It's the first time publicly that a female has accused Michael Jackson of abuse. The very first time publicly. Now, I'm told that there is a second woman that is involved in another case against the Jackson estate. That is the case from the Leaving Neverland guys, Wade Robson and James Safechuck, that a woman is prepared to testify that she too was victimized by the late King of Pop. And apparently, and she's described by a source as short hair at the time of these assault. Now she's a grown woman. As a tomboyish, short hair individual. But what makes this so, I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, like Wade Robson, James Safechuck, me personally, not that it matters, but me personally, it kind of ultimately expected, it didn't surprise me, put it that way, that Wade and James would later make claims. This though, this one is a surprise. It's a surprise because of how Frank, for decades, was Michael's guy. They were close. They were family, and his family. And I guarantee you, and Jackson fans are very, very attuned to Michael's life and all of that. But I say that to say I am quite certain that even they were surprised at the Cassios. They had to be. Cassio Frank went on Oprah after Michael died. He wrote a book after Michael died, talking about how crazy any allegations may have been. And then in 2019, he made some claims. We don't know exactly what those claims are. But he made some claims, and the estate, because they were working on some projects that they didn't want derailed in any way, shape, or form, or they didn't need any bad publicity, they decided to, give him some money. And I'm pretty sure they thought that was the end of it. Until now, when now the entire family pretty much has said, hey, this is what's happened. Now I'm going to read you in its entirety, the statement from the Jackson estate lawyers on this latest bombshell against the late Michael Jackson. It comes from Marty Singer. Marty Singer is a huge name in entertainment law. I mean, he's represented so many superstars. And this is what Marty Singer says, and this is his statement in its entirety. He says, this lawsuit is a desperate money grab by additional members of the Cassio family who have hopped on the bandwagon with their brother Frank, who is already being sued in arbitration for civil extortion. The family staunchly defended Michael Jackson for more than 25 years, attesting to his innocence of inappropriate conduct. This new court filing is a transparent forum shopping tactic in their scheme to obtain hundreds of millions of dollars from Michael Jackson's estate and companies. Statements by the Cassios, including those appearing in dozens of passages throughout Frank Cassio's 2011 book, as well as in interviews with Oprah Winfrey and others, directly contradict what is being alleged now. Throughout, the Cassios consistently and repeatedly asserted that Michael never harmed any of them or anyone else. With the estate's financial success growing, the Cassios, through two different attorneys, threatened to go public with heinous accusations that completely contradicted their previous statements defending Michael unless his estate paid staggering sums of money. Last year, the Casio's attorney, Howard King, demanded $213 million after Howard King was replaced for a time by attorney Mark Garagos. Garagos made a new but equally baseless $40 million demand on behalf of the Casios. Still looking for their multi-million dollar payout, the Casios brought back Howard King and are grasping at straws through this frivolous filing. Singer goes on to say this isn't the first time the Casios have tried to leverage their association with Michael for financial gain. Amid the media frenzy following a 2019 HBO documentary replete with false allegations, they threatened to make accusations that were the opposite of their decades of prior statements supporting Michael unless they were paid millions of dollars. Estate executors, under recommendation of counsel with respect to their responsibility as fiduciaries, reluctantly paid the Casios $2.8 million each over 5 years to protect Michael's family, as well as future projects important to Michael's legacy and fans, which were worth hundreds of millions of dollars to the estate for Michael's beneficiaries. The Casio family's former attorney, Mark Garagos, had been Michael's defense counsel before being dismissed in 2004. He spent years attesting to Michael's innocence, including multiple statements in his 2013 book and in an interview that year with Huffington Post, in which he labeled accusations against Michael a shakedown. Finally, Singer says Michael was unanimously acquitted by a jury after a 5-month trial, about which Garagos wrote, quote, "The only thing that surprised us was that it took them longer than 15 minutes to reach that decision." The Casios spent decades defending and affirming Michael's innocence. Notably, these shakedown attempts come more than 15 years after Michael's death, thus carrying no risk of being sued for defamation. Sadly, in death, just as in life, Michael's talents and success continue to make him a target. And that is the statement of Marty Singer. And what's interesting, and he mentions Mark Garagos, and I talked to some entertainment lawyers, and they are uh, really up in arms over the participation of Mark Garagos. Now, apparently, Mark Garagos is no longer representing the Casios based on that statement anyway from Martin Singer. But they were really like, what's going on with Mark Garagos? I mean, it's bad enough that attorneys have to fight the label of ambulance chases, but you defended this man forever, including after he died. And now you're now you're representing someone who is accusing him of this. And some of the attorneys I spoke to said, uh, it could be that um, Garagos could be referred to the bar because attorney-client privilege doesn't end at death necessarily. In fact, I was told that in this case, that in order for it to end, the Jackson estate would have to sign off on it, and there's been nothing to suggest that the Jackson estate signed off on, or whether Martin Singer, whether John Branca, John McClain signed off on Garagos's being able to be free to go against Michael Jackson. But according to the complaint, some of the alleged offenses took place during the Dangerous World Tour at Elizabeth Taylor's house in Switzerland, at Elton John's home in the United Kingdom. Neither the representatives for the late Elizabeth Taylor or representatives for Elton John would respond to comment requests. It doesn't implicate Elizabeth Taylor or Elton John. It just mentions that some of the alleged assaults took place in their home. Doesn't indicate that they were home either when these things happened. But it's amazing that, like I've said it, that coming from the Casios makes it surprising. If you followed and maybe not many have, who knows, but I'm sure the fans have, and those who have reported on them have. But if you follow the saga of Michael Jackson, Frank Casio and the Casio family have been very prominent in the Michael Jackson story. And if there was no one that Michael could count on, it was the Casios. That's what makes it surprising. As I said, Wade, James, for me, maybe for fans, but for me, was not surprising. Wade Robson, the who was a great choreographer, Britney Spears, NSYNC, etc. Also dated one of Michael's nieces. He testified at the trial for Michael. James Safechuck refused to testify. But some argue that he had previously defended Michael, and I'm not going to get into the weeds with that because listen, because he previously defended the man does not necessarily mean that he's lying. But and I'm not saying anybody's lying, but what I'm saying is just so curious. The Casio family it's extremely curious. It's a curious thing there, particularly Frank and Dominic, the father. There were rumors about Aldo that the family had dismissed. It's a very complicated thing. Now, there have been folks on this case. Um, Jackson fans don't like the name Diane Diamond, but Diane would do her due diligence as a journalist. And what the thing, the idea that and now they're gonna say, "Oh, so you are against Mike or whatever." I'm not taking a position right now. I'm just giving you facts. And Diane I never found her to be somebody who was just intentionally doing giving false reports. I don't think it's in her DNA to just intentionally give false reports. She went on what she and what her sources gave her, what she discovered herself. Her trusted sources she would go with. Diane didn't go with just any source. Um, but no matter how you slice it, the Casio situation is very curious. And then to have Margarios involved, it makes it even more curious because you can't help but to jump to, and it could be the wrong conclusion, but jump to the conclusion that you know, it's it's all about the cash. It's all about the money. And it all happening. And someone from the estate, connected to the estate, I should say, had said to me personally a few times, watch what happens uh, when it's around the time of the movie. Everybody's gonna come out the woodworks. And boy, oh boy, were they absolutely correct. Because here we are, less than 2 months away. The movie drops next month in April. And now we have this explosive lawsuit filed on Friday. And it's pretty spectacular because, again, to me, the headline is that you have, for the first time publicly, the first time in court, first time filing, a woman who said as a little girl she was abused by Michael Jackson. Prior to that, it was all males. And then come word from another source that in the Wade Robson, James Safechuck filing from the two men who appeared in Leaving Neverland, that another woman who will testify apparently in civil court that she too was abused. So this is the saga, and the Michael movie, hundreds of millions of views to the trailers. Never heard of something like that before. It's set up to be the biggest biopic ever. And you got some great actors in there. Coleman Domingo, Lorenz Tate, Nia Long. And I know the Jackson family is excited about Jafar Jackson's portrayal of his uncle. Imagine your screen debut. Imagine your first acting gig starring as Michael Jackson. No, it's a family member, but who else were you going to get if you really wanted to capture the essence? Because it's in their DNA. This is a talented family, left and right. Jafar is Jermaine's child with Alejandra Jackson, his former wife. And the fans, of course, they dig up everything. One of the fans posted a video of Alejandra talking about how proud she is of Jafar and promoting the movie. Only Beyonce fans can compare to Michael Jackson fans, because they get into everything. I mean, they pull out stuff that you never even heard of before. But the estate is really they're fighting hard because they have some serious issues with this particular filing, and they're fighting hard. And so we'll see um, how this all shakes out, because that's quite. If you read the lawsuit, it's quite the claim. But read the statements by the estate's lawyer, and it's as hard hitting of a statement as you can imagine. Generally, you get, oh, we decline to comment. It's in litigation. It's a matter of litigation or something. No, they came out swinging. Came out swinging. So and the movie is not expected to really go into any of these allegations. In fact, from what I understand, and I have not been privy to more than what you have been as far as the movie is concerned, but it appears to go into not beyond Thriller, and none of these allegations happened. Um, you know, pre Thriller, pre Bad, which was what 1987 was released. So apparently the movie will not delve into that at all. But as we said on this program before, the movie is really a gift to the fans. So you kind of understand why they wouldn't want to touch that. Now they have said, the estate has made rumblings that this is only movie number one. So maybe future movies will tackle that topic. Maybe they'll be forced to tackle that topic. And look, um, maybe that's what's needed in the next go around. But this is a gift to his fans and to his family. It seems like it's going to be very, very, when you think you know his story, I think this is going to dig into the nuances of what made him such a great, great entertainer, perhaps the greatest. But we will see. We will see. Lots going on there, folks. Lots going on. Well, speaking of lots going on, I think it's time to hear from our girl, Shani B. Check her out. All right, we're having trouble with her sound. Right. I think we're having some sound issues with Shani this morning on her, so we're gonna have to come back to her. We're gonna have to come back to her. But again, folks, we welcome to let it be known to the partnership, none other than the Bell Project. As we said, we're announcing this morning a new partnership. This one is expected to um, go for about 3 months at least. We will see going forward. And but the Bell Project is something that you all should know about. We all should know about because the importance of the Bell Project can't be overstated. And they, hey, as they said, you could change lives one bailout at a time. You could fundraise with them. You can help them out, folks. But what is the Bell Project? Well, they provide free bail assistance to those in need. They restore the presumption of innocence, reunite families, and gather evidence for change. By advocating for better policies, the Bell Project seeks to take money out of justice and to create a pre-trial system that is more just, equitable, and humane. So we are so proud to announce a partnership with them that begins now, today, on Let It Be Known. And so you'll be hearing from them. We'll have guests, we'll have success stories and what they're doing on Capitol Hill, and so much more. So that's our alert for today. That's our breaking news for today. But so stay tuned for so much more. And we always appreciate your comments. We appreciate all that you do to support us. We know that getting up in the morning and having this be one of the first things you do is, hey, it's probably not always at the top of the bucket list. But we appreciate it more than you know. More than you know, the support has been tremendous, and we thank you for it. And stay tuned for more.
Let's go! Let's go, Flav.